Page 61. How's everybody doing this morning? Y'all don't look half bad in green. You don't look half good either, but you don't look half bad. You're welcome. All right, page 61. Page 61. So this week we have spent time together looking at Get Me to the Garden. We've talked about how God created us for a perfect place, how that perfect place was lost, how because it was lost, we face disappointment in life, but we can always have hope. And then yesterday we talked about how we can live an abundant life of garden living by following the path of Jesus in the way. So one of the things this is our 16th year of the NOYC, which is really amazing because we're only like 15 years old. But this is our 16th year. And one of the questions we get every single year is, gee, Josh, that's great. I am so thankful for what we learned, but now what? How do we apply this at home? How do we live this out? How do we not forget everything and go back to how it was? And so today what we want to do for a few minutes is just look at some practical things you can do to live out this truth at home. All right? So we're on page 61. We're just going to go through this briefly and just discuss it. All right? So the first thing you can do, the next step to living in paradise, first thing you do is start each day with an Eden awareness. Can you all say Eden awareness? So we talked about this really every day this week, but we need to remind ourselves why we were made, why God created us. And the reason he created us was to point to him, to be his image bearer, to bring an image and a likeness to him. And so we need every morning to remind ourselves, I exist today to point to God. I exist today to bring an image to him. I am his ambassador, his representation on this earth. That's why he gave me today. That's why I exist today. Something you can do is start every morning with a simple prayer to redirect your mind. Pray something like this: God, help me walk with you today as I was created to do. We learned in the Garden of Eden that God walks with man in the cool of the day. So that is a reason he made us, right? He made us for fellowship and walking with him. And so start each day inviting God in prayer to do that with you. Another thing you can do is spend at least 5 minutes in scripture before checking your phone or before doing anything else. And that again helps refocus your mind for the day on what it truly matters, right? Rachel yesterday, I think it was yesterday in our skit, she had her phone, right? And she had the watering can and the gardener said, what you water will grow. Do you realize if your phone's the first thing you get in the morning, and if that's where you spend most of your time, it might be kind of obvious why you're not close to God. Because you have a little g God. And it's square and, well, rectangle. Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's rectangle. And if you're smart, it has an Apple button. Okay. Doesn't actually have an Apple button. That tells you how dumb I am. Anyhow. Do you realize if God really is the most important thing in your life, you'll be willing to redirect, refocus your whole day revolving around him? He should be the first thing you do in the morning. Talk to him. He should be what is on your mind all day long. And so an Eden awareness is putting first things first, getting God in a right place in your life. Ask yourself this: am I building my life around God's presence or my own comfort? And so we learned in the Garden of Eden that Adam and Eve were made for God's presence. They were made to spend time with God in the cool of the day, but what did they choose instead? What they wanted, what made them happy, what was comfortable for them, right? And so if you want to live a garden way of living, if you want to live abundantly, you need to put God first, live for him, and sometimes that means discomfort for you. And then choose one intentional act of obedience every day. Do something intentionally that God's asking you to do, and that way we remind ourselves that we were created for his purposes. All right, number 2, identify and reject paradise lost thinking. Sin often begins by believing life outside of God's will is better. And so we see this with Adam and Eve. They thought eating that fruit would fulfill them. It would make them happy, and that's where everything went amok. That's where chaos entered, right? And so begin by believing that anything that God says is bad, even if I don't feel it, it is bad. It's not good for me. Believe God and what he says. Before giving into temptation, pause and ask, what am I believing will satisfy me more than God right now? And then identify your personal Eden substitutes. What are some things? God created you for a very good life, but when we choose things outside of God's will, we're settling for less. And so what are some substitutes? A few examples might be control, approval, comfort, success, escape, pleasure. Those are all metaphorical fruits that we eat, and it removes God's presence from our life because it refocuses us on the wrong thing. Practice quick repentance instead of hiding from God. We talked about this a lot on Tuesday. When you sin, and you will sin. Some of you cheated in that game earlier, and you have sinned. Don't hide from God when you cheat in games at the NOYC. Run to God when you hide, when you cheated. Run to God when you hide. We learned Tuesday that what we need to do is not hide and cover when we sin. We need to run to God. Don't run from God, run to God. And so make that a practice. End each week with honest reflection. Where did I choose self over surrender? Number 3, practice biblical lament. Don't ignore pain. Don't become cynical. Bring your struggles honestly before God. Pray honestly instead of pretending. Tell God, God, this hurts, but I still trust you. We had on the wall over here this week the goodness and the groaning papers. Make that a daily practice. Get out a piece of paper every week and fill out one side groaning, one side goodness. Be honest with God about what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, because as we learned on Wednesday, he not only says it's okay, he invites us, expects us, and joins us in groaning over what's not good in this life. Read one psalm of lament weekly. A few examples to choose from would be Psalm 13, Psalm 42, Psalm 77, Psalm 88. The Psalms are filled with poetic laments or groanings that will help refocus your attention on admitting things aren't okay, but God is still good. The Psalms are a great place to park out for that. Journal your fears, your frustrations, and questions in prayer. Just write them down. Get them out. Don't hold them in. Don't bottle it. Don't pretend. Replace complaining with conversations with God. We're pretty good at complaining, right? Can I one last time hear your groaning? Now let me hear your goodness. Do you know how much better you would feel if you would stop complaining and start just talking to God about what you're dealing with? It would change your whole day. It would change your whole life. It would change your relationships. It would change everything. Don't be a complainer. Be a lamenter. Number 4. Keep your Redeemer radar active. Can everyone give me a radar right now? Keep your Redeemer radar open. Train yourself to look for God's restoration in everyday life. Every day, write down one place where you saw brokenness and one way God may be working through that brokenness. Have your Redeemer radar open, looking for where God is working, even in pain, even in difficulty, because God is the great restorer. He always brings goodness from groaning. Ask yourself this: where is God forming me right now? What might he be restoring in this situation? Learn to see that delays as patience training, hardships as faith formation, and interruptions as divine opportunities. Number 5, practice Gethsemane living. Learn surrender before seeking escape. When life feels heavy, pray Jesus' prayer, not my will, but yours be done. Bring pressure into prayer instead of away from God. Stay connected to Christ through daily scripture reading, consistent prayer, church, community, worship, obedience, and small things. And so we talked yesterday, Jesus says that our faith is like mustard seed. It's tiny, but when you continually faithfully nurture it, when you continually water it, it will grow into something massive. Hebrews 11 says, those who diligently seek him will be rewarded. And so just like we said with the phone or anything else, what you pursue in life is what's going to grow. If you want closeness with God, guess what you got to pursue? Him. You got to pursue him. And so be intentional and faithfully doing the small things, and he'll make them into massive things. And then lastly, on number 5, abiding is surviving. Whenever life gets tough, whenever life gets difficult, when it hurts, when you don't like it, don't run away from God. Don't put him at an arm's length away. Don't push pause in your relationship. When life is hard, cling to him more than ever before. No matter what he does to you, no matter what he brings to your life, say like Job, though he slay me, yet I will trust him, and I will keep my ways before him. Abiding is surviving. Yesterday we talked about being in the airplane. It's better to be in the plane with the pilot in turbulence than to be out of the plane in the air without turbulence, right? And so it's better to be in the presence of God with pain than to be out of the presence with God with no pain. And so learn that abiding is surviving. Number 6, live with New Jerusalem hope. Don't let present pain define your future hope. Remind yourself often, this broken world is not the final version of reality. It is temporary. Speak hope-filled truths during suffering. Tell yourself that God's not finished yet. This is groaning, and this groaning is not the end. Focus less on temporary comfort and more on eternal perspective. Encourage others with promises of restoration. And then number 7, lastly, adopt a daily garden identity. Use this mindset filter every day. I see sin, but I sense the garden. I am surrounded by problems, but I trust the promise. I will follow Jesus through surrender, through suffering, and with hope. Before reacting to difficult situations, ask, am I responding in despair? Am I pretending everything is okay? Or am I trusting that God is restoring all things? Do y'all realize, old people help me out, do you realize how different your life would be if you would just do those 7 steps? By a raise of hands, how many of you are going home to face something difficult? Like you just don't really want to leave. Things are tough when you get back home. Anybody else? Anybody else? Do you realize no matter, we don't want to play this game, but no matter who has the worst situation to go home to, do you realize there's no situation that is hopeless when you consider him into the equation? If you will remember that God is enough, if you'll remember that he gives you hope always, you can face whatever you're going home to. I promise you that. And so these are just some 7 practical steps you can take to do that. So this is the final challenge. The goal of this series is not simply to admire Eden, mourn the fall, or dream about heaven someday. The goal is to follow Jesus now. Every day is an invitation to become a kind of person who walks with God in a broken world while anticipating a restored one. Live as someone being led back to the garden. All right, well, we want to let you know about a couple things real quickly. Don't think I loaded that. It's all right. They have in their books. On the next page there, you'll see on page 63, there is a QR code, because of course there is. There's a QR code that will take you to the Get Me to the Garden landing page on our website. There you can find the full lessons in both text and video. And so if something, you just want to review it, maybe you want to do a small group study on it, maybe you want to send it to somebody, maybe you want to go back and listen to it a second time because you missed something. Take a look at that website. You'll find all of that content there, and that will hopefully be a blessing to you. These books are designed to go alongside the study, and so you can follow along verbatim, reading the lesson with the videos, or you can go along with the blanks and follow that as you watch the videos, but that is available, and we hope you'll take advantage of that. Well, as we told you in devotion class, we have some Q&As that you guys gave us, and so we're just going to go through these a little bit. Here's our plan. We are going to answer just a few today, and then in the upcoming months on the NOYC Godcast, we'll be answering the rest of your questions. And so make sure to tune in each week on the NOYC Godcast, and we'll answer more Get Me to the Garden questions. Did you guys pick out what you want to do? Are you doing all of them? Well, she's not going to do them, so you got to do twice as much. I do. This one. So this question says, how can we stay motivated to keep reading our Bibles while we aren't surrounded by it and stop being lukewarm Christians? It's a great question. And it's one that we really do get every single year, like what happens when we leave here. And that's kind of what we covered in these 7 steps. But again, what I want to draw our attention to is what you water will grow. Yeah. What you water will grow. What you invest in will grow, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of these things, and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. If you put God first, if you water him, if you diligently seek him, he will reward you in that. He will help you desire the things of his kingdom and grow your faith. And so how do you stay motivated? Well, it's like gardening. Sometimes there's weeds in the flower bed and you really just don't feel like dealing with it, but you know that if you want to garden, you have to deal with it. Sometimes you have to do the things you don't want to do.
Well, I think that's what I was going to say is that it's about consistency. It's about doing it every day. It can't be based on how you feel that day. It has to be based on your love for him. It has to be, you want to have that relationship with him. And so, like, if you're having a relationship with somebody, if you didn't talk to your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister every day, then you wouldn't have a relationship with them. But you have to do that every single day to have that relationship.
I think the difference is that Christianity is not what you do, it's who you are. It's an identity. Gardeners who garden for a hobby, it's not that they have to do it to eat off the land. It's that they love what they do. They have a love for it. They are a gardener. And it's the same way with the Christian life. It needs to be something you become. You love him. And so it's not that you have to check the box. It's that you desire to spend time with God, to grow in your faith, to know more about him. And so staying motivated, as Jamie said, is being faithful in the small things. It's finding daily rhythms that you are committed to doing because you know that the end result will be worth it. This one is a great question. This is a really, really great question. I'm guessing, there's no names on these, so I don't know, but I'm guessing this comes from a church kid, maybe a PK. Got any PKs in the house?
Do you know what a PK is?
Do you know what a PK is? It's a Thank you for laughing at my terrible joke. A preacher's kid, pastor kid. We got any preacher kids in the house? Pastor kids in the house? Yeah, I know. You hate when you're put on the spot from the stage. So this question says this. This is a great question. Your handwriting's not great, but your question is, what is the best way to make it feel like I'm not forging a relationship with God, but rather welcoming him? And so the context here I'm gathering is sometimes it feels like we're being made to have a relationship with God, especially church kids. A lot of times we have to go to church. We have to read our Bible. We have to pray. So how do you not feel like you're forcing it? How do you feel like you actually are welcoming it? That's a great question. Are you answering that? She's not going to answer that.
Well, I think that it is that motivation, or not the motivation, the want behind it. So welcoming, you welcome somebody in, you want them to be there. It's not just I have to. Think about when you have a friend come over. Usually your mom, dad, whoever makes you clean your room. You have to do different things in order for people to come over. You want to do those things so that person can come over. And so I feel like that's what we do with God. Is it's not I have to pray, read my Bible, do these certain things, go to church because I just have to do them. It's because I want that there. I want him in my life. I'm excited for him to be there, and I want to make a place for him to be able to be.
How many of you, so maybe you have a mom and she cooks and cleans for you and does your laundry and probably 2 million other things for you. Everybody got one of those? It's like, where do you get one?
What if I am that mom?
What if you are that mom? Yeah. Would we all agree moms and dads do a lot of stuff for us? Like, would you agree? Yeah. But do you love your mom and dad because they make you scrambled eggs in the morning? Is that why you love them? Okay, thank you for your honesty. We love them because of who they are. What if mom breaks her arms and she can't make scrambled eggs anymore? Are you still going to love mom? You guys are a tough crowd. I'd hate to be your mother. It would be awkward if I was their mother. For me too. If mom broke her arms and mom couldn't do the things for you she usually does, you would still love her because she's your mom. We need to get to a place in modern day Christianity where we do not serve God for what he can do for us. We serve him for who he is. We love him because he is our God. Just like Job, sometimes God will do things that hurts you. He'll allow things that go against your will. Sometimes he will press you and crush you like we learned yesterday. But his motives are always pure. His outcome is always worth it. And so we need to get to a place where we love him. And yeah, we can appreciate the things he does for us, but we can't serve him only for what he does for us, because eventually what he does for us will not line up with our desires in life. All right? So this last one, we had this and someone wrote this in a book, but I actually had a few people ask me this after class, and it's a great question. So on Tuesday, we talked about sin, and we talked about how Adam and Eve ate of the fruit of the garden, and things didn't go well for everybody. So this is the question. Why did God make temptation? Why did God put boundaries? It's a great question, and that tells me that you're thinking, and I love that. This is the answer I usually give to this question. In order for there to be love, there has to be consequences. There has to be temptations. There has to be something that gives you a way not to love. A choice has to be involved in order to love. If there were no tree in the Garden of Eden, that would have meant that Adam and Eve would have basically been cyborg robots. They would have basically been will-less, choiceless beings who had to do everything all the time. They would have been angels, really. They would have had no say, right? But the fact that they had an option allowed them to choose to love God. It allowed them to choose to have a relationship with him, or as we see in the story, it gave them an option to choose not to love him and to disobey him. And so in order to love someone, you have to have a choice. And that is the easiest answer I can give to that right now. So those are just a few questions we wanted to do today. And so, again, tune into the NOYC Godcast, and we will be answering more of your questions in the upcoming weeks. All right, well, at this time, all right, counselors, I'm really going to need your help here. All right, and you're allowed to groan back at me after I give you instructions. I said after. I'm going to tell your scrambled egg making mother. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to do our final team time. And so the girls are going to hand our counselors a team time packet. But here's what we need you to do first. Stay seated, stay seated, stay seated. We need all of you to take your books. Show me your books. And this is what I need you to do with your books. I need you to use your legs. And I need you to put your books in your luggage. Stay seated. Listen, listen. There's more to come. And then I need you to come back in here once it is in your luggage and safe. All right? And then we'll go to the next step. We'll do that when they come back. All right? So you got 2 minutes. Ready, set, go.